What if I told you that the very same problem that causes heart attacks could also be the hidden reason your manhood is failing you after 60? Yes, I'm talking about clogged blood vessels, and not just in your heart. The delicate veins inside your penis can silently harden and narrow with age, choking off circulation and leaving you frustrated, embarrassed, and disconnected from the intimacy you once enjoyed. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I'm a urologist and professor of urology with over 3 decades of experience helping men across America reclaim their vitality. I've sat face-to-face with thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who whisper to me the same fear. Doctor, I feel like I'm losing the very core of who I am. And here's the surprising truth. Most of them chase quick fixes, pills, pumps, procedures, while ignoring the simplest solution that's been in front of them all along. 4 specific vitamins, ordinary nutrients that have the power to restore blood flow, unclog penile veins, and bring back a sense of energy and closeness many men think is gone forever. In this talk, I will reveal these 4 vitamins, how they improve circulation, and how they help restore intimacy naturally, without side effects, without dependency, and without shame. But stay with me, because one of these vitamins is so overlooked, most men don't even realize how essential it is until it's almost too late. And that's the one I don't want you to miss. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button and turn on the bell. That way you won't miss future advice designed to help men over 60 restore their health, circulation, and intimacy. And, if this video speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If you feel it missed the mark, type 0 so I know how to serve you better. Now let's begin with the first and perhaps most underestimated vitamin of all. It's not just about strong bones or a little sunshine. This vitamin directly influences your testosterone, your blood vessels, and ultimately your ability to enjoy intimacy after 60. I'm talking about vitamin D. 1. Vitamin D, the sunshine hormone for blood flow and desire. When I sit across from a man in his 60s or 70s who tells me he feels drained, disconnected, and not himself anymore, one of the very first things I ask about is his vitamin D level. And usually, I see the same expression of surprise. Vitamin D, isn't that just for bones, doc? But here's the truth that most men never hear. Vitamin D is not simply a bone vitamin. It is one of the master regulators of blood flow, testosterone production, and even the delicate vessels inside your penis that make intimacy possible. When vitamin D is low, your circulation suffers, your arteries stiffen, and your desire fades. As men get older, this problem becomes almost universal. The skin no longer produces vitamin D from sunlight the way it once did. You may spend less time outdoors, your diet may not supply enough, and over the years those levels silently drop lower and lower. And with each drop, something subtle begins to happen. You notice your energy fading, your mood flattening, your erections losing strength, your confidence shrinking. You may not connect the dots, but the foundation is always the same. Low vitamin D starves your blood vessels of the ability to relax and deliver oxygen-rich blood exactly where it is needed. I remember one patient, a retired firefighter, who came to see me after years of frustration. He had tried pills and gadgets, none of which gave him the natural confidence he wanted. We tested his vitamin D and found it was dangerously low. With the right supplement, the change was remarkable. He came back months later smiling, telling me he not only felt stronger in the bedroom, but happier, more energetic, even more alive in his daily walks. That is the quiet power of this vitamin. It doesn't just support bones, it supports manhood itself. The science behind this is powerful. Vitamin D enhances nitric oxide, the very molecule your body depends on to relax blood vessels and allow them to fill with blood. Without nitric oxide, those vessels stay constricted, and even when your mind is ready, your body cannot follow. Low vitamin D also pushes testosterone lower, leaving you tired, heavy, and distant from the man you used to be. But when you restore it, circulation improves, energy rises, and intimacy feels within reach again. For most men, aiming for blood levels between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter is ideal. That usually means a safe daily dose of 2,000 to 4,000 IU, though every man should check with his physician before starting. Sunlight helps, but supplements are often necessary after 60. And the payoff is worth it. Stronger vessels, healthier desire, brighter mood, and a return of that spark that too many men think is gone forever. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. If vitamin D helps keep the hose flexible, there's another vitamin that acts like the plumber who comes in and clears out the gunk that's already built up inside. It's a nutrient most men overlook, yet it has the power to literally flush open clogged vessels and restore blood flow. Let's talk about vitamin B3. 2. Vitamin B3, niacin, the vessel unclogger. When men come to me complaining of fatigue in the bedroom, they often expect me to prescribe a pill, something immediate and powerful. What they don't expect is when I lean forward and ask them about their vitamin B3 intake. Most have never heard the connection, yet for decades I've seen firsthand how this simple nutrient, also called niacin, can make a profound difference in circulation, intimacy, and overall energy. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of my favorite vitamins to talk about, because I've witnessed it transform lives in ways that feel almost miraculous. Niacin works by expanding the smallest blood vessels in the body, a process you can literally feel as warmth spreading across your skin. Some men call it the niacin flush. While it can be surprising, that flush is nothing to fear. It is blood flowing into areas that were previously tight and restricted. Imagine your arteries like old pipes that have become narrowed and clogged with years of buildup. You can push as much water as you want through them, but if the channel is blocked, nothing changes. Niacin acts like the plumber who opens the valve and lets blood course freely again. For a man, that means stronger circulation to the heart, to the brain, and of course, to the penis. I recall a patient in his late 60s, a former engineer who was meticulous about his health. He had tried everything from exercise routines to special diets, yet intimacy remained weak and disappointing. His cholesterol was creeping up, his arteries were stiffening, and he was beginning to give up hope. We added niacin to his regimen, slowly and carefully, and within weeks, he began to notice not only improvements in his lab results, but something far more important to him: confidence returning in the bedroom. He described it as though the lights came back on in a part of his life he thought was finished. That's the kind of change this vitamin can deliver when it's used properly. The beauty of niacin lies not only in its ability to open vessels, but also in the way it supports cholesterol balance. It lowers harmful LDL cholesterol while raising HDL, the protective type that clears debris from your arteries. This dual action means it doesn't just improve the moment, it helps safeguard your long-term circulation, keeping pathways open for years to come. For men over 60, this is critical because every year of aging adds more risk of arterial hardening. Niacin helps turn back that clock, allowing blood to flow with the ease of a younger man. Of course, it must be used wisely. Doses of 500 to 1,000 milligrams are typical, but they need to be guided by a physician, especially if you're already on heart or blood pressure medication. The flush is often seen as inconvenient, but I encourage my patients to reframe it as a reminder that their vessels are opening, their body is awakening, and change is happening where it matters most. And yet, even with flexible arteries and cleaner pathways, another hidden problem still threatens circulation. Calcium, the very mineral you've been told to strengthen your bones, can betray you by hardening in the wrong places, inside the walls of your arteries. Unless it's guided away, it can quietly block the very flow we're trying to restore. That's why the next vitamin is so critical, because it acts like a traffic officer, directing calcium where it belongs and keeping your blood vessels clear. Let's move on to vitamin K2. 3. Vitamin K2, the calcium traffic cop. One of the most overlooked yet vital players in a man's health after 60 is vitamin K2. I often describe it to my patients as the traffic cop of minerals, because its job is to direct calcium exactly where it should go. And believe me, calcium can be a blessing or a curse. When it goes into your bones, it keeps them strong, preventing fractures that can steal independence in later life. But when it drifts into your arteries, it becomes deadly. It hardens the vessels, narrows the passageways, and slowly chokes off the very circulation that fuels your heart, your brain, and yes, your manhood. Men rarely think of calcium as an enemy, but I've seen too many tests and scans showing arteries lined with it like concrete pipes. Once that happens, intimacy becomes more than difficult. It becomes nearly impossible. I remember a patient, a gentle man in his 70s who had been married for 50 years. He told me, with tears in his eyes, that he felt like he had failed his wife because their closeness had faded. His stress tests showed his heart working harder than it should, and a scan revealed calcium deposits building up in his arteries. We introduced vitamin K2, and over time his lab numbers improved, his energy lifted, and his confidence began to return. He described it not just as a physical change, but as a gift, an opening of the door back to his relationship, back to laughter, back to touch. That is the quiet but profound role of K2. The science is fascinating. Vitamin K2 activates proteins that literally sweep calcium away from your vessels and lock it into your bones and teeth. Without it, calcium drifts into the wrong places, causing stiffness and blockages. With it, blood vessels stay supple, flexible, and ready to expand when circulation surges during arousal. This means erections can be fuller, firmer, and more reliable. It also means your heart has less strain and your risk of stroke decreases. In other words, this is not simply about intimacy. It is about adding years of quality life to the time you already have. For most men, getting enough K2 through food is nearly impossible, unless you eat a steady diet of fermented soybeans called natto, which very few Americans do. That's why I often recommend a daily supplement, typically in the form of MK7, at a dose of around 100 to 200 micrograms. It works best when combined with vitamin D, creating a partnership where one opens the vessels and the other keeps them clean. Together, they restore a flow that many men thought was gone forever. Yet even with flexible vessels and calcium under control, there is another enemy silently attacking circulation: oxidative stress. Every day, free radicals damage the lining of your arteries, weakening them and leaving them vulnerable to cracks, stiffness, and decline. Unless you defend yourself, the damage accumulates year after year, and that is why the next vitamin is so essential. It is one you already know by name, but you may not realize how deeply it impacts your circulation, your energy, and your intimacy. Let's talk about vitamin C. 4. Vitamin C, the circulation restorer. When people hear vitamin C, they usually think of orange juice or cold prevention. But as a urologist, when I talk with men over 60 about intimacy and circulation, I see vitamin C in a completely different light. To me, it's not just an immune booster. It is one of the most powerful protectors of the very blood vessels that determine whether a man feels alive in the bedroom or defeated. Think of your arteries as flexible tubes designed to expand, contract, and deliver blood with force. Over time, those tubes take damage from years of stress, diet, smoking, medications, and simply aging. Microscopic cracks form, the walls stiffen, and suddenly the surge of blood that once came so easily now struggles to reach its destination. That is where vitamin C becomes a quiet savior. I once had a patient, a retired Navy officer in his mid-60s, who came to me frustrated beyond words. He was healthy by most measures, but his erections were weaker, his endurance was gone, and he felt like his body was betraying him. When we reviewed his diet, it was clear he had very little vitamin C intake. We corrected this, and within months, he returned with a spark in his eyes I'll never forget. He told me, "Doc, I don't just feel stronger, I feel like my blood is moving again." That simple sentence captured exactly what vitamin C does. It strengthens the collagen in vessel walls, allowing them to stay elastic, resilient, and responsive when circulation demands increase. Beyond structure, vitamin C is also a defender. Every day, free radicals attack the lining of your vessels. Left unchecked, these unstable molecules slowly erode your health, leading to stiff arteries, sluggish flow, and diminished vitality. Vitamin C acts like a shield, neutralizing those radicals before they can cause long-term harm. The result is not just protection for your heart and brain, but a direct benefit for the blood flow that fuels intimacy. It is remarkable how one nutrient can quietly support confidence, connection, and performance in such a profound way. The practical side is simple. Aiming for 500 to 1,000 milligrams daily is safe and effective for most men, ideally through a combination of fruits, vegetables, and if needed, supplements. Oranges, strawberries, bell peppers, and broccoli are excellent sources, but even a modest daily supplement can provide the consistency your body needs. What matters most is not a single high dose here and there, but steady support day after day to rebuild and protect the circulation you depend on. And here is where things come full circle. Vitamin C may restore elasticity and strength to your vessels, but when combined with vitamins D, B3, and K2, it completes a system that works together, opening, cleaning, directing, and protecting blood flow. That combination is what gives a man the confidence to feel intimacy again, not as a memory, but as a living, breathing part of his life. Yet even as we celebrate these nutrients, there is still one more truth to confront, and it may be the most important of all. Because without understanding how to bring these pieces together into daily habits, many men never experience the full transformation, and that's exactly what I want to show you next. 5. The power of combining these vitamins, a blueprint for circulation and intimacy. Over the years, I've learned something important. No single vitamin, no single habit, and no single treatment carries the whole burden of restoring a man's health. What truly changes lives is the way these solutions work together, piece by piece, to rebuild what time and lifestyle have broken down. And that is exactly what happens when you bring these 4 vitamins, D, B3, K2, and C, into alignment. Each one plays its own role, but together they form a system, a blueprint for restoring circulation and intimacy in ways that men can actually feel in their daily lives. Vitamin D opens the doorway by making the vessels flexible, receptive, and ready for blood to flow. Niacin, vitamin B3, then rushes in to clear the path, unclogging those narrow channels so blood can move freely again. Vitamin K2 acts like the guardian, making sure dangerous calcium doesn't harden into the walls and block everything you're trying to restore. And finally, vitamin C strengthens the structure, repairing and protecting those vessels from the damage of daily life. When you see how they fit together, you understand why so many men who use them consistently report not just better energy, not just better mood, but stronger, fuller erections and a sense of youth they thought they'd never feel again. I remember one man, a retired school principal, who came to me after years of trying everything modern medicine could offer. He had taken prescriptions, tried devices, even looked into surgery. Nothing brought him what he wanted most: natural, reliable intimacy. We worked step by step, starting with vitamin D, then adding niacin, and later K2 and vitamin C. He didn't notice much at first, but slowly, within months, he realized his walks were easier, his blood pressure improved, his wife smiled more often, and when the moment came for closeness, he was no longer dreading failure. He was ready, confident, and connected. That is the quiet but undeniable power of restoring circulation from the inside out. When men ask me, "Doctor, how long will it take before I notice a difference?" I always remind them that the body doesn't change overnight, but every day you give it the tools it needs, you are rebuilding something deeper than just blood flow. You are rebuilding dignity, confidence, and joy. These vitamins are not gimmicks. They are the foundation nature has given us to keep circulation alive well into our 60s, 70s, and beyond. But here's the key question. How do you take this blueprint and make it part of your daily life so the benefits last? That's the part most men miss, and it's the difference between a quick spark and lasting transformation. And that is exactly what I'll share with you as we move into the final part of this talk. 6. Conclusion: bringing it all together. As I reflect on everything we've talked about today, I want you to see the larger picture. For too many men over 60, the struggles with intimacy, with confidence, and with energy are written off as just another part of aging. But I can tell you after more than 3 decades in urology, that is not the whole truth. Aging changes the body, yes, but it does not mean surrendering your vitality. What we've uncovered together is that circulation is the lifeline of intimacy. And when blood flow falters, so does a man's confidence, his joy, and his connection with the one he loves. Vitamin D, the sunshine hormone, gives your vessels the flexibility to open when the moment calls. Vitamin B3, niacin, cleanses those vessels, washing away the debris that clogs your path. Vitamin K2 steps in like a quiet protector, guiding calcium out of your arteries and back into your bones where it belongs. Vitamin C repairs the walls, strengthens them, and shields them from the constant attack of stress and time. And finally, when these four work together as a system, they give a man something no pill can offer: a natural, lasting foundation for circulation and intimacy. I have seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who walked into my office defeated, afraid that their best days were behind them. I have watched them embrace these simple nutrients, often with skepticism at first, and then return to me months later with a smile, a firmer step, and sometimes even tears in their eyes as they describe the closeness they've regained with their wives. One man told me, "Doctor, I feel like I have myself back again." That, to me, is the greatest reward of this work. Because intimacy is not just about performance, it is about identity, about being present in your own body, about holding the hand of the woman you love, and knowing you still have the strength to give her all of you. So my final message to you is this: do not wait. Every day you take action, your body has the chance to heal, to restore, to revive what age has tried to take away. Get your levels checked, talk with your physician. Bring these vitamins into your life with consistency and patience. The results will not come overnight, but they will come, and when they do, they can change more than just your circulation. They can change how you live, how you love, and how you see yourself. Gentlemen, you are not powerless against age. You are not destined to fade into weakness and frustration. With knowledge, with courage, and with the right choices, you can reclaim strength, intimacy, and vitality. And perhaps most importantly, you can remind yourself, and the woman by your side, that even after 60, life still has so much to give.